Hey YouTube, Phoenix 21 Studios here with a product called Quickjack. It's the portable car jack, and it's rated at 7,000 pounds. The different model numbers show the weight capacity. I went ahead and got the 7,000. And this is what comes in the kit. A lot of goodies here. I've taken everything out of the box pretty much here to show you, with the exception of a few things here. It comes with these wall mounts, so you can mount it on the wall out of the way. Comes with these type screws. You got to put those in a stud. It has these. These are like spacers, so you can put that on top of the jack. As a way to get extra clearance. So I'll show you how that looks. Something like that. So when it goes up, you've got the extra clearance. Big thing I want to point out. These do lock in place. But please, please, please get 4 of these anytime you're under a vehicle. I have personally witnessed people's death from crush injury where they thought they had something stabilized and it just fell on them and they died. They got squished to death. Also with these rubber blocks, you can fit in those groove channels the same way. A little bit of height difference there. Basic industrial looking controller, up and down. This is the motor itself. Got A channel and B channel. It comes with a decent enough instruction manual. It's over all the safety tips, what to do, what don't do. If you open up the box of one of these and you don't see the safety manual, there's only one, and it's just in one of the boxes. So let's get this thing set up. So what this kit doesn't include that you do need is a 6mm hex to take off your shipping caps on each side. It comes with some of that liquid thread stuff. I've never used that. I'm going to use this thread tape. But don't use any old thread tape that you have laying around because it might be dirty and you don't want to get that line contaminated. So we're using a fresh, clean one that we'll put on there. Something else is the reservoir over here. It comes empty. So this was the cheapest approved product that was listed. And I think it was $9.99 a bottle, and it's the Mercon 5. So it has a list of like 5 or 6 different ones you can use. This was approved. This was the most cost effective.
Okay, so I've made this colored diagram to be as simple as humanly possible to show you what it is exactly that you're putting together on this kit. We have the jack over here and the motor over here. What you're going to have to connect is an elbow piece to each jack on the cylinder part. Don't use threading or the liquid thread lock on this part because there's an O-ring here. You will thread these threads. These blocks that are different colors represent the quick connect pieces that you're going to install on the hose, and there's 2. There's a short piece, there's a long piece. So after you get your elbow piece installed onto the jack, take your short piece, install your connection on, it's only this end. This is already hardwired into the line itself, so after that's threaded you simply tighten it on. You'll install a connector here, you'll install a connector on this hose, and then it snaps in. It's a quick connect, quick release. And then there's one that goes onto the motor, and there's an A channel and a B channel. Be sure you put the bottom one on first. It's not really easy to tighten the bottom one if you've already got the top one installed, and it's a 7/16 fitting. So don't put the lock thread or the thread tape on the connector that goes into the motor. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4 these pieces that receive it, and it's just a repeat process for the other jack. That's, I think, as simple as I can make it. If you're a younger viewer or you're not a native English speaker, sometimes these instructions on what to do can be a little bit overwhelming. I want to make this as simple as possible. The instructions are included, and they're basically saying this, but I'm just giving you an explanation of how to do it in about 45 seconds instead of having to thumb through this manual.
When you put this thread tape on, don't overlap it and let it go out and hang over. Keep it short, just on the very last thread or close to the last thread. And you are not gonna like how these connections fit. It feels like it needs to go further up there, but that's as tight as it will go. Okay, the fittings that go in the motor itself, it is 7/8. You do not put any thread or any of that liquid thread tightener on it because it has an O-ring on it. And the same is true for the elbow joints. You don't put in that stuff if it's got an elbow, if it has an O-ring on it. It will deteriorate it over time. Okay, so now the process of bleeding this out. Once you fill the reservoir, these lines are basically empty and they just have air in them. So it's a lot like bleeding your brake line. So you take a 3/16 hex key. You'll take this bleeder off. The fluid's in there, connected to a power supply. When you activate that motor, it's going to push that fluid through the lines into here. Eventually, when it's full, you will probably hear some air puff out, and then when the liquid comes out, that's why you want to lay rags down to catch that. It's more ideal if you have something like that or multiples of those, you can get the excess fluid that's coming out. And then when it's just fluid, no more air coming out, you know, you got your line bled. It says to raise it and lower it about 3 times, but you also have to elevate it. The idea is you want this cylinder raised up so the fluid sort of is held in by gravity and only the air is coming out, but you still will get some of that fluid that comes out. Okay, looks like it's working. Got a little bit of leak on that connector. Nothing on there. Pushing down, and since there's no weight on it, it goes really, really slow. You can see, maybe not. Also, what they don't tell you, you have to fill this cylinder 50 psi of air from an air compressor. So if you don't have an air compressor, you're going to need one for this. That little spot there, take that off, fill it up like you're airing up the tire in your vehicle. So the next thing to do is to check the tightening on that connection, clean up all the spilled residue, and do the whole thing again and see if there's any more spilled residue.
Last thing to go over here is the technical details here. We're looking at 7,000 pounds, and the maximum lifting height on this is 24.5 inches. These bad boys are very, very heavy. You will soon figure out that if you're not careful, you will pinch the absolute bejesus out of your fingers. So watch that. It is made in China, but everybody highly rates this product for their Corvette, so that's why I've bought it. I went ahead and got the 7,000 because I also have a Jeep that I can work on, so it falls within the weight limit for that. Thank you so much for watching. I bought these off Amazon, and it's officially their Quickjack store. It's through them directly. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a comment. Literally, comment me anything. It helps grow the channel. Appreciate it. And you all have a Merry Christmas.